You were young and inexperienced when it came to dating, but you did know one thing. It wasn't supposed to be this hard. You shouldn't have to feel like you were constantly fighting for any kind of attention, and if that made you sound clingy, so be it. It still wasn't right. Peter Parker, the love of your life, or at least you thought, the boy who tried so hard to ask you out, coming with plan after plan to get you alone and finally tell you how he felt, had been ignoring you, and you had no idea as to why. You knew he was Spider-Man. You knew he had responsibilities. You knew, and most of all, you understood it. You'd let him leave dates or cancel them if he had to, especially after the blip. Things were a mess and the people needed a hero more than ever. But your patience was really being tried when he decided not to show up without telling you, letting you wait for hours just to hear half-assed apologies after. And with every unread text, unanswered phone calls, to even the times you had to compete for his attention in school, you felt your heart break a little more. And especially right now, laying on Peter's bed for 2 hours, your phone held loosely to your ear as you listened to Peter's voicemail for the 12th time that night. You felt your heart break that much more. You didn't leave a voicemail. You don't anymore. You never check them anyway. With a sniffle, you hung up the phone and fought back the tears you knew would fall regardless. It shouldn't be this hard. You sat up on his bed and glanced out the window, seeing the night sky, and with a sigh, you decided you finally had enough and stood up, wiping at your eyes. With slow movements, you grabbed your bag off the ground and walked out of his bedroom. "May?" you called out. "In here, sweetie," she yelled from the kitchen. "Hey," you greeted, seeing how she was in the middle of making dinner. "So I think I'm just gonna head out now." May frowned. "Still nothing from him?" You looked down at your feet as you felt fresh tears building up and shook your head. You hated crying in front of May, especially when her nephew was the cause of it. "Oh, honey," she said sadly, and you knew she could tell you were trying not to cry. "Come here." She walked over to you and pulled you into a tight hug. "I'm so sorry. I really don't know what's gotten into him lately." You wrapped your arms around her as the tears started to fall. I miss him," you sobbed as May ran a comforting hand up and down your back. "I know, sweetheart, I know. I'm gonna talk to him." You shook your head. "No, please don't. It's fine, I swear," you muttered as you pulled away from her. May's frown deepened as she looked at you, wiping frantically at your tears. She sighed. "All right, but I hate seeing you so upset." You nodded. Yeah, I'm just gonna go now. Thanks, May," you said as you started heading towards the front door. "Walk home safe," she called after you, and you hummed in response. You shut the door behind you as you pulled your phone and quickly dialed MJ's number. It rang 3 times before she picked up. "Hell, you were right," you sniffled into the phone, cutting her off. "Are you crying?" "Just a little, but you were right. He didn't show again, and I called him like 20 times, and I left even more texts, but he won't respond. He keeps doing this to me, and I don't know what to do anymore." You rambled, getting into the elevator. MJ sighed. "You're not gonna like what I have to say." "I usually don't." You lightly laughed, trying to feel any other emotion than the intense heartbreak you did feel at the moment. "I think you either need to sit down and talk about it with him or just break up. He's been doing this to you for months and you're miserable." "Yeah," you sniffled. "I didn't like what you had to say, but I'll think about it," you mumbled before saying goodbye and hanging up. Peter sat on the rooftop of one of the many buildings in Queens, just waiting for someone to save or another criminal to stop. Peter didn't know what time it was. He usually didn't when he was out on patrol. All he knew was that it must have been late, and he knew he was forgetting something, but he couldn't figure out what. He had his phone in his hand, quickly typing out an essay he had left till the last minute again. "Karen, give me a synonym for impulsive." "Impetuous, rash, hasty." Karen's voice was suddenly cut off by a ringing. "Yasmin's calling again. Should I decline it?" Peter groaned. "Again?" "Yeah, you can decline it, and put her on mute." "Yes, thanks," Peter mumbled, finishing the sentence he had been stuck on for the last 7 minutes. "Peter," he hummed in response, "are you still dating Yasmin?" "What? Of course I am." Peter mumbled. Really? Then why do you keep declining her phone calls and ignoring her text messages? Karen asked. Peter shrugged. I don't know. She's been a little clingy since the blip, which I get, but Queen still needs saving. Don't worry, I'll make it up to her somehow, he said, fiercely typing away at his keyboard. But there are no threats now, Karen said skeptically. Might be. I just don't want to not be here when a threat does come along. But me and Yasmin are fine. She understands my responsibilities. Hey, what were the major themes of Hamlet again? Madness, revenge, religion? Would you like me to list more? No, that's fine. The sun had been setting, and the roof was getting more and more uncomfortable. Peter sighed. That should be good for now. I'll finish this later, he said, putting his phone away and getting up. He stretched before swinging away on a web to see if he could find anything to do. Peter would eventually look back on this moment wondering if he had just been a little smarter and answered the call. Maybe, just maybe, he could have saved your relationship from crumbling in the weeks that followed.